Are you ready?
Yes.
Yay!
Hi, everybody.
Wait, no. All right. Hey, everyone. This is July 18th. It's Saturday at 4:58, and we're going to start the third episode of another Black Girl podcast. The applause sound effect is already coming through. All right, so today I have a special guest. It is my sister, the business owner, and my hairstylist that I've been boosting from the first episode. Let's get into the theme song. This is another Black Girl podcast.
We're doing our best to make it last.
Can you hear it?
This is another Black Girl podcast. We're doing our best to make it last. Another Black Girl podcast.
All right, so we are here with my sister Ashley.
Hi, everybody.
Can you drop your handles?
Okay, so my Instagram is _beauty4ash, and you just spell that through, no numbers. My Facebook is a little difficult, but you can get it from the Instagram. That's where I post most of my content anyway. And YouTube is Ash, ASHPK93. So you could just type that in and I should come up. My name is Ashley Gisantana. So it's Lauren's last name just with Ashley in the front. Spelled the regular way, ASHLEY. Thanks, guys.
Our third episode is going to be about coronavirus. How did it start?
Mommy, of course, the trouble person in the house.
Okay, my mom is a nurse who works at... Our mom works at a
hospital.
A hospital
in
on
New
Long
York.
Island.
Yes.
There is many.
We can't tell you the name because you might want to find her.
But they might already know.
Her stupid friend and coworker comes in
and says that her husband tested positive for COVID. And instead of her quarantining, she continued to come to work and coughed all over the workplace.
So, my mother came home complaining like, oh, the lady, she's sick and she's coughing all over everything. And I looked at her and I said, if you let this lady get you sick, I'm going to be pissed off at you.
Yep.
Okay. So time went by and...
It had to be like a week or a few days, right?
It felt like a few days in my mind, but it probably was a week. So, like, I started seeing my mom. She'd be like... So one time we were around the dinner table yeah. And we were all eating a delicious meal.
That I made, probably.
That Lauren... I don't know. I don't know if she made it, but we were eating and we were very hungry. And I saw my mom do the cough.
And she looked kind of clammy, too. Didn't she? She looked weird.
She looked weird.
Like a little sweaty.
But she was eating a lot. You know, in my family, if people stop eating...
They're about to die.
Yeah, it's a problem. Because we eat a lot.
Yep.
So she was eating, and I looked at her and I said, why did you cough? Because she couldn't explain to me why
That's
she was
a fact. And she was like coughing like a little bit here, a little bit there. Like, you know when you're trying to like hold your cough
yes.
in? That's exactly what she was
trying to
doing.
hold it and hide it from me.
It was very strange.
So it was freaking me out because everybody's talking about COVID. It's like going crazy and you're hiding this little cough that is one of the main symptoms.
That's a fact.
And you can't tell me why you're coughing.
That's a fact. So this coworker basically, after it was confirmed that my mother had it, this coworker basically was like, yeah, my whole family tested positive. Don't even waste the test. You have it. Remember? She told her not even to waste the test.
Yeah.
But her husband
she told my mom not to get tested, which was completely like wrong.
They work in hospitals. Like,
come on.
Get tested.
Yeah. And wait, so let's go back to Mom's story because it's a lot. So she started doing this stupid cough and I said, why are you coughing?
That Sunday we had service, my mom was like coughing here and there. And coughing at the time was a little off-putting because a month before we got it, our great-grandmother passed with pneumonia.
Yeah.
And she was like 12 towards the end, she was coughing a lot. So when we hear coughing now, we're like, no. So my mom was coughing at church, and then Sunday she was like sitting at the table looking kind of clammy, like coughing a little bit here and
looking
there.
around, looking crazy.
Like she was looking at us to see if we were watching her coughing.
Yes.
Because now it was on our radar. And then on Monday, she was down.
Okay, guys, so she comes in my room Monday morning, and she has a house coat on and, like, something wrapped on her head. And she's like, hey, Ash, can you give me the thermometer? I said, why? I said straight up in my bed, I knew exactly what was happening. I said, why? She was like, I don't feel good.
Clearly,
So then she told my dad, Ashley's gonna kill me. She said that because I was like, with this whole COVID-19, I was going crazy.
Ashley was on edge. When it was confirmed that my mother had it, Ashley was sitting, like, my dad and I witnessed Ashley sitting at the kitchen table during dinner time. Like, she was, like, sitting there waiting for the sickness to get on her. Like, she had both hands on the table, just sitting there
just
staring into the distance, contemplating life.
Miserable.
So my mom...
Contemplating life. Yeah. Like, you really contemplate life with this disease because
people
you don't know if you're going to make it or not.
Okay, but Ashley's not immunocompromised. My mom isn't immunocompromised.
It doesn't matter. People have died.
That's a fact.
Who are not immunocompromised.
That's a fact. That's a fact. So, like, you really don't know.
You gotta think.
Right.
You know?
Right. And then, like, after Corona spread to, like, my dad and sister, my dad said he had a panic attack in the bed.
Hold on. Let's talk about that.
Okay, so wait. Who got it first? No, Dad? Who got it first? Dad
we both started showing symptoms, but
right.
Dad was in denial.
No, let's go from Monday.
Okay. Monday.
Mom comes for the thermometer. Then what happens?
She's like, I didn't sleep all night.
Yeah.
And she's like looking like death.
She was like clammy,
looked
gray.
like death. No.
She had the blanket over her head.
She looked like death, guys. Like, her eyes were like reddish. Yeah. She was like, I didn't sleep all night. I've been rolled. She couldn't keep still because she said the body aches were so bad. And I'm like, this woman never does this. So something's really wrong. So I started freaking out. I started cleaning everything again. Like, if I touched the doorknob, I would clean it 3 times. Like, I would wash my hands 20 times, minute after minute, just to, like, I don't know. I was freaking out.
Yep.
And Laura, like, Ashley, calm down. But, of course, the person that doesn't show symptoms is telling me to calm down. So, I'm freaking out. I tried to help her, and then my dad's sitting at the kitchen table, and he looks so stressed.
He looks so stressed.
He had to
sleep in a different room.
Yeah, but he would have to, like, look of, I'm like, paying bills, but, like, this might be it. Like, he looked so stressed because mommy was sick. And I'm like, looking at him, I'm like, yeah, she's saying she's not feeling well. He's like,
yeah, he was really stressed.
Yo.
We were like, yeah, mom has a temperature.
Because we didn't know how this was going to play out.
That's a fact. And, like, there was just a death in the family. Like, what about me? Am I okay?
And she was the one who was really taking care of her. Like, she said she was thinking about my grandmother that died. You know, like,
it was
that's
deep.
Not good.
Right. Like, you don't need to contract a fatal virus and start thinking about
your person that just died.
Like, do you want to see them? Like,
and the thing is, like, this disease will make you feel like that because my grandmother died from pneumonia, and this attacks your lungs. So you start thinking, like, oh my God, this is what she was going through.
Yeah.
You know, like, it really plays with you.
Yeah.
So I remember seeing my dad sitting downstairs. He looked so...
He was like, Ashley was bad. Like, Ashley was like a 10 out of 10. My dad was like an 100 out of 10. He was like sitting there staring at his checkbook, having an existential crisis. It was bad.
It was bad.
It's bad. And like, as we mentioned, like, my dad is a reverend of a church. Like, he's one to keep the faith. So for him to be staring off into the distance, contemplating life,
I don't know. And I remember the first couple of sermons he preached, like, during COVID, was very, like, mellow. Like,
he started off with a good head on his shoulders. He was mellow, but like, he started off with like a leveled head. Like, everything was cool. And then for the first, like, quarantine service from home, our mom was locked in her room because we kept her there.
But she got better, guys. Like, we did see her progress. She was like looking out for certain symptoms, like if she had trouble breathing or whatever, she was going to go to the hospital. It was like the first 3 days were really bad for her
because of the aches.
To get better.
Right. Yeah. It was the fever and the aches for her. Yeah. So after you and Dad started to come down.
Okay, we were eating, chilling with Lauren, and I started noticing that Daddy started getting a little cough.
So
I would look at him, and be like, you know, I'd be like, Dad, you know, my chest feels a little heavy. Does yours feel heavy? No. Okay. Then the next day he's like, hey, Ash, you know, my chest feels a little heavy. And I'm like, yeah, that's how I've been feeling. He's like, yeah, but it's just allergies for me. This always happens to me. I'm like,
because
okay.
I think it was around March, April. And, like, that's peak allergy season. So
he's like, oh,
we go through allergies hard here at the crib.
No, not like this. So he's like, this always happens to me. And I'm like, okay. So then I'm like, then take an Allegra, see if you get better.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, I feel so much better after Allegra.
And he did for a minute.
He did, and I did take an Allegra as well. And I didn't feel much of a difference, but my symptoms were very mild. Mm-hmm. So then I started saying, like, Dad, I feel like something in my lungs. Remember, Lauren, I used to be like, listen to my lungs.
Oh my gosh. She would cough and be like... Like the guy on SpongeBob.
Yes. No, like the doctors make you cough when they're listening to your lungs.
But she would intentionally wheeze and then be like, my lungs, guys, my lungs, my lungs, my lungs.
No.
Like you're wheezing intentionally.
Listen, guys, it's very important to be in tune with your body.
Oh
if I did not know my body, I would have never known I was getting sick. Like, I knew something felt off. And then I felt like a little more tired. You know, but I think it was also the stress of my mom. It was just so much going on. But I started noticing different things. So then the night before I got a temp, I was like, guys, I don't feel good.
You said you felt cold or like clammy or something.
Cold. I said, guys, I don't feel good. But it wasn't bad. It wasn't worse than the stomach virus. I had the stomach virus like a month ago.
That was terrible.
Yeah, I felt like I was dying. that, you know, you're throwing up, you're nauseous, you know, you can't walk, you know, you can't do anything. That felt worse because this, I just felt cold. So I said, guys, I don't feel good. I drank a tea and I went upstairs. Sure enough, when I took that temperature that night, it was, I had a fever.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, Dad... Because I know he started having... we had the same symptoms. He just wasn't acknowledging it. You know what I mean? Like, he just was like, oh, yeah, this always happens. Yeah, I cough.
Yeah, and our dad is the kind of person who, like, when we fly on vacation, like, the plane could be going through turbulence.
Crashing. It could be crashing.
And our dad is going to be sitting there stone-faced because we know, like, he's not the type to freak out. So if he freaks out, we know we're going to die.
Yeah.
So he was trying to, like, keep it cool.
I always look at him on the plane, like...
On the flight, like, if it gets bumpy, like, we'll look at him, and he'll be, like, fake sleeping, and just, like, chilling. When he freaks out, we know it's bad.
He fake sleeps on the plane. Because he wants us to be calm.
Like, you know you're not sleeping. The flight is 6 hours. Wake up.
The flight is flipping over. Like, we're flipping in the sky, and you're not asleep. Wake up.
It was really bad. So, he's the type to just keep it calm. But Ashley and him started going through the same symptoms.
And he was denying it, and I was acknowledging it. That's what it was.
He thought it was allergies, and then like maybe like he thought it was something that like he wasn't acknowledging, but like I think he was just trying to like keep us cool. So like they started coming down.
He had to stop. He was like, I feel fine. I'm like, Dad, how do you feel? Like I would ask him like, how you feel? I feel fine, but then I started noticing he was asking me, how do I feel?
Right.
Because he knew that I was acknowledging the symptoms.
Right.
And he would be like, oh yeah, that happened to me.
He needed something to compare it to.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that happened to me.
Right. So then you and Dad, like when it started to get bad, when y'all both started running temps and stuff.
I wasn't bad.
Okay.
I just ran temp, and then I drank gallons of water. And the thing is with my dad, you know, men, I'm sorry, men don't listen. And, you know, you think that you got a handle on it, and you don't.
Oh, wow.
So I kept telling Dad, like, the way to get through this quickly is to drink a lot of water, flush it out of your system. He started saying that the stomach is the water's making his stomach hurt. You know, all these other excuses as to why he can't drink water and tea.
He was so dramatic. We used to bring him like water, tea. I brought him coffee with half and half because there's water in coffee. So I'm like, if you can't drink
couldn't
water,
even taste it.
Yes.
That was another symptom. He couldn't taste it.
Yes.
He said, Lauren, what did you do to this coffee? And I was crying because I knew that was a main symptom.
Right.
And it's like, you're still denying it.
Right. But he wouldn't even like drink water because he was like, as soon as I drink the water and lay back down, then I have to go pee again. So I'm just not going to drink it.
So he was like acting like everything was fine, but he was running a temp, and he had a temp for a really long time.
Until he started getting like the chills. And then he was like, oh.
Oh my God. Then he was like,
yeah, like he would have like chills like run through his body. It was very strange.
And he says he still has chills now because it did something to his blood. That's what he says.
Anyway.
I remember I took him to get tested with me.
Oh gosh.
And, you know, that was like our first out. It felt so good.
Oh my gosh. Yo, like that post-quarantine or like that mid-quarantine outing to go get tested, everyone was wilding.
So the line was super long, and they said, the sign said, we're done with testing for today.
It was 1 o'clock.
No, it's not right. You know what?
It was either 1 p.m. or 3 p.m.
It's like it was like getting a test in a third world country. Like America literally turned into that. Like you couldn't get a test. So I looked at my dad. I'm like, you want to go to Starbucks?
But wait. He was like, before the test, my mom and sister, like my sister almost started crying because
I'm not getting a test.
Because she didn't want her nose swabbed.
Okay. My mom is a soldier. She had COVID-19, got in the car because you can't have anybody else in the car, drove to the doctor. I was going to drive her. She didn't want nobody. She went to the doctor. One doctor said they don't have the test. You see? Like a third world country trying to get a test. Then she had to go to another place, beg for a test.
Yep.
You know, she's a nurse. My God. If they can't even get tests, you know, what's going to happen to us? That's a fact. So she was begging for a test. They gave her the test. She said she almost passed out. She said
oh my God.
burned. She said it took her a while to gather her thoughts, you know, like she was messed up. And, you know, to hear this from her, she's in the medical field. So if she felt like that, I have no hope.
Honestly, and our dad always tells us that I would have been born a day earlier, but she just didn't want to push. So, like, for her...
She didn't have enough medicine.
For her to come home and have to immediately lay down. She was like, I have a migraine.
Yeah.
We gave her a leave, and then she went to go take a nap. It was bad.
The thing with her symptoms was, like, her head. Like, I feel like her head and then the aches.
Yeah.
So that's the worst. Like, that's terrible. So, yeah, she got that, and then she made it sound like it was really bad, and it was bad. You know, I don't think she was lying. So why would I want to go through that?
And then Dad at the end, what did he say about, like, right before the test? He was like, I don't want to get my nose swabbed.
He chickened out, guys. I used to be like, Dad, you know, I used to talk about it like, you know, if we got to get a test, like, are you going to go? He's like, yeah, if a professional does it, I'll be fine. You just swab your nose. They just swab your nose. Everything should be fine. Let me tell you, he completely chickened out. When we went to get the test, you know, there was no more. So he was like, okay, I'm not coming back. That's it. But my mom, like, forced him to get a test later on. And he went to the doctor by himself, which we should have never allowed.
Should have never allowed.
And he did not get the test.
Never allowed.
The doctor just took an x-ray of his lungs to see if COVID was still in there.
Right.
My mom lost it because she's like, I told you to get a test and you said that you would have no problem with it. Like, what's the problem? Mm-hmm. He was like, I don't want them swabbing my nose.
Yup. That's a fact. That is a fact. I remember.
Problem.
He turned up on my mom. He turned up. I think he was really scared. And then, like, when he talked about it now, he was like, I got a small head and a small nose, and if they trying to stick a swab that's 12 inches down my nose, I might smack him. Like, Dad.
He said it before. He was like, I would have no problem if a professional
That's a fact. If a professional did it. Okay.
God.
Like, anyways. Oh my God. He was capping.
Honestly, you know, I was a little upset and nervous about the whole COVID thing. She almost cried, y'all. But Dad was the most dramatic. He wouldn't eat. He wouldn't eat.
Oh my God. So I would be making meals like Chef Ratatouille, chefing it up. And I was like, okay, Dad, here, I made this. I don't want that. Dad, okay, I made this here.
I don't want that.
Dad, no, I made grits with shrimp.
I don't want that.
Dad, no, here's some water.
I don't want that.
Dad, what? Like, are you kidding me?
I know.
After a certain point, I was like, you know what? Give him some crackers, because I'm not finna be bothered.
Yeah. And he would only eat a little bit, and then...
He would eat a fourth of the dish.
He wouldn't eat his.
And they'd be like, okay. There was this one time I made, like, a cute parfait, like, chopped up some fruit, and I gave it to him. He ate, like, 2 spoonfuls. And I was like, Dad, what's the matter?
He was like, the oats congealed in the yogurt.
Like, are you kidding me? I'm slaving.
Everything was a problem.
I was pissed.
Everything was a problem.
I was like, Mom, I don't know what you about to do, but you gotta handle it.
Yeah, and me, I ate through it all, but I couldn't taste certain things, and I felt like my taste buds would never come back.
Yeah.
No.
I would like put things like
when
hot
was
sauce.
enough.
Yeah, I would put like hot sauce in the soup to see if they would taste it. I would put like extra pepper, mad salt. Like I was trying to see what was going on. I was
I couldn't
experimenting.
taste it.
Yeah, it was deep.
I couldn't taste
Okay,
it.
so then after the test, what happened?
What test?
The fake impromptu. We don't have any more test.
We didn't do it.
Right.
And then after that, we just came home and quarantined.
Right. So like everybody would be like quarantining in their room.
Yeah.
I would be the one like
But Dad did not freaking quarantine.
towards the end of his
No!
quarantine.
He never quarantined
So
properly.
let me tell y'all, I would be
Yes, go ahead.
So I would like, okay, so like I was the one cooking, so I'm like, okay, like what do we need? We need garlic, we need onions, okay, we need celery, we need some salad. So I would like run at the store for 5 minutes. I wouldn't tell anyone I was leaving. I would like kind of sneak out, like step on it, go like hop to the front of the line, and then run home. I'd come home and my dad would just be sitting at the table,
Like everything's fine. Like
drinking
like
coffee,
his normal usual.
watching Wendy
Like you
Williams.
have COVID, you know?
Like, please get away from me.
And then he would be coughing.
Oh,
Guys, he would be like and I'm like
Like right after I sanitized everything, I would
Yeah.
turn around
Oh
and he
my
would just be
God.
like, "Hey, what's up?" Like, are you?
and he
are
would
you
sit in the
serious?
kitchen. Like you have to go to your room.
Right, and at that point, like I wasn't sure if I had it or like if I didn't have it or if I had the antibodies. So I was shook. Like Dad, please. And then like towards the end of my mom's quarantine, she would like
She's
run out
laughing.
the room.
She would be laughing.
She would run to the fridge. Like she would go like streaking, like she was naked, but she
Yeah.
would just like run
While
through
we're
the house.
sleeping, she would run through the house.
It would be like the Flash.
Yeah.
She would just run, like Mom.
And then hide. Like I didn't go anywhere. Like you did.
Like there are crackers on the table and everyone else is upstairs. It's really bad.
But I felt like quarantining was the worst part for him because, like, Mom, you know, like she's on the phone, she's talking.
No, but she's used to like
but
going
Dad,
out.
he was like not doing good in his room.
He couldn't go to work. Okay, so then he had a panic attack
Yes.
and was
He
like,
tells me. Okay, so some nights I would go to sleep and I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I'm gonna die. Like, am I having trouble breathing? And your chest does feel heavy. So I was like, am I having trouble breathing? Like, if I'm gonna die in my sleep?
Oh my God.
Like, you start having these kind of thoughts. And he told me that he had those thoughts, like a panic attack. And I think I had a panic attack too. Like, my boyfriend said, like, I was freaking out.
yeah, she was. She really was.
And so I was like, I'm gonna die. You
That's
know?
not funny. It's not funny.
And he was like, Ash, you're gonna be okay. You know, you're gonna make it through it, and I'm losing it. So
Yeah.
Daddy was having that kind of panic attack.
He was
too.
really like trying to keep it in, but like you could tell he was tripping. Like some days I would walk in,
Yes.
like, "Hey Dad, here I made you breakfast," and he would just be sitting there staring at the wall, like, "Bro, what is going through your mind?"
And then I
It was
remember one
wild.
time I went in his room, and he's like, "Yeah, how you feel?" He would always ask me how I feel. How do you feel? Like you're running a temp. I only had a temp for 3-4 days.
He had it for a week because he wouldn't drink water.
Because of the water, guys. I'm telling you, you have to drink water when you're going through something like
Right.
this, especially with fever.
Right.
So he's like, hey, I'm like, how do you feel? He's like, I'm all right. How you feel? Always questioning how I feel, and I'm like, you know, you need to do this,
know.
you need to do that. He's like, I need to go shape my beard up because
Yo.
if I look better, I feel better.
Yes, he really did say that. I remember. He said that. He said that. He said that. So then after that, Dad's fever passed, your fever passed, Mom was already out of quarantine when y'all started to come down with it. And then what?
And then no. One time he was like, I don't like the way Lauren looks.
Oh my God. So y'all, I got like my period in the middle of like slaving for everybody during quarantine. And I was
you were
like,
tired.
I was tired. I was tired. I had cramps. I was trying to like tough it out. I like popped in a leave and like kept cooking. And then like I was sitting at the table and I remember like the leave was wearing off, so I started to get a headache. I got cramps. I was so tired. And I was sitting at the table like staring at my plate of food and then just went upstairs. And I was like, forget it. Like I'll just eat, sleep for dinner. And then like
Yep. He came to me. I don't like how Lauren looks. She looks like something's wrong. Yeah, she might be feeling it.
feeling it. Really? Really?
I said she's on, like, it's her time of the month, you know. She says she's okay. But he's like, no, I saw the look in Mom, I see the look in her eyes.
Like what look? The COVID has a look apparently,
Yeah.
y'all.
It has a look.
Right.
It's crazy. So after that,
Uh-huh.
Lauren just like had those couple of down days, but I think it was linked to the menstrual cycle. And after that, she was fine.
Right.
And then
I didn't have a fever.
that was
I
it.
didn't have chills. I didn't have aches. I didn't have any of it. So then after that, like my dad and sister, like my
You
dad.
don't know
took
if you
longest
didn't
to
have a
learn.
fever. You didn't take your temperature.
I did when y'all were asleep.
You were freaking out.
Yeah. I was like, do I have it? Is it my time?
Is
Like,
it
I
my
really thought I was about to go down.
And then my mom would say stuff like, you know, some families, not everybody makes it out of it.
Yes!
One person might die.
Yo, she was like, if something happens to me, I got this life insurance.
Yo.
Our wills are in this box. Like, first of all, the box isn't organized. And don't be doing this right now.
Yo.
So, like, we would, like, take communion. We would have prayer, like, every day or,
We
like,
had
every
to.
other day.
Yes.
Because, like, everybody was having private and collective panic attacks. It was crazy.
I told my best friend, and she's spazzing out like, my mom. So her mom is also a nurse, and she's like, my mom told me that if she dies.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my
Yes.
God.
So during this time, a lot of people have been, like, locking in their wills. Like,
Yes.
I hope y'all paid your life insurance. But you know what? Like, in all
funny.
seriousness,
It's
like,
not
it's
funny.
real out
It's not
here. It
funny.
is real.
It's not
It's
funny.
completely and totally real.
It's not funny.
So then, after y'all came out, like, what happened? That was it?
yeah, we got over it. But Dad says he still feels chills.
And you do too.
And I felt like heaviness on my chest a little bit, you know, a little bit after. But I didn't really have the cough that bad. Did I? I don't remember coughing like that.
You didn't, but you just said, like, it was hard to breathe at times for you. And maybe, like, that was part of, like, your pain
Heaviness.
situation, too?
No, I think it was in my mind. I think it was.
It was that, too.
I think it was the.
It was that, too.
What?
And then it was also, like, kind of humid certain days.
Yes!
Because even for me, it was hard to breathe. And then with those masks, like, I would have
Did
to
we
walk
have
around.
the ACs up yet?
No.
Mm-mm.
We would have to walk around with, like, the N95 masks
Oh my
at the
God.
beginning.
It was
Like, my
just
mom
too
had it.
much.
It was hot. Those N95s.
And they didn't do anything. Those masks did nothing.
Wait, no. Don't say
They
that.
didn't do
Don't say that.
anything for like our household.
Okay, because you would go to your room and take the mask off. But the COVID might
No,
have been
everybody
closed.
still got COVID.
Because mom was running through the house. That's why. And then dad started running through the house.
Coughing. Like, yeah.
He coughed on me. Like, I should have had it.
You
I'm
did
like-
have it.
No, I didn't.
Lauren, you have the antibodies. You
You're right.
had COVID.
You're right. But then
Like,
you had
you
COVID too.
can't-
No, you had COVID too, because you're like, I don't know about what I had.
I
But it's
had it.
No.
You had it.
No.
We all had it. And I think that everybody in the world has it.
All right, we're not gonna do that.
Okay.
So I'll be like, Dad, like, here's your coffee, and he'll be like,
Like,
why are you coughing on me?
He's crazy. And I'm like, go to your room. And he would sit at the kitchen table.
He would just sit there, and I was like, okay, if you're not gonna move, I'm gonna go.
Thank you for staying tuned. This is another Black Girl podcast. Before I move on, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about Anchor, which is the forum I use to publish and share my podcast, Another Black Girl podcast, with you. It is absolutely free, and there are creation tools that allow me to record and re-record and re-record and edit my podcast from my phone and or my computer. It distributes my podcast so I can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, CastBox, I think it is, and a whole lot of other platforms. I can make money from my podcast with no minimum listenership because of the ads. Anchor also finds the ads for you, honorable mention, and it's basically everything you need in a podcast. So it gives you some transition music and some pretty cool features, some data, some analytics, some cool looking charts. And yeah, it's a great forum to publish your podcast on. So if you wish to start one, go to anchor.fm to get started.
So,
Well, for this next part, we're gonna go through. Yeah, we're gonna go through symptoms.
so the first one was fever. You could not take a leave. You had to take Tylenol, aka acetaminophen. What is it?
I don't know that word.
Acetaminophen.
I think you're saying
So
that.
they have some kind of 7-Eleven store brand, and I remember getting the Tylenol acetaminophen knockoff.
And I spazzed.
And my sister lost, and I was like,
I
"No, I'm not taking this. Go to the CVS and get it." Like, anyways, so you can take ibuprofen or Aleve because they accelerate the symptoms drastically. The next symptoms was chills and or hot flashes, just like extreme temperature changes, not by means of a thermometer, but like the way you feel. So if you're suddenly cold and then suddenly hot, and then like
That's how you really know the temperature. Like, you know when your body is like
Right.
overheated.
And then one of the major changes was a loss in taste or a change in your taste buds. I think I gave you some wine and you told me like you couldn't even taste the flavor. And all you
all I
could
tasted was the alcohol.
Yeah, and that's crazy. Because like that wine was specifically like oaky or whatever. Anyway.
And you know I love oaky wine.
Right. And then like all you could taste was salt, hot sauce, onions, and alcohol. So like in any dish, she could be like, "Why is there so much onions?" Meanwhile, I put like a little powder. Why is there so much garlic? I put a little garlic powder. I put one thing of hot sauce to test to see if she could taste it. It's spicy. Like, all right, give me the food back. And then the next one was like aches and pain, and then one from mom and dad.
I got my menstrual during COVID,
Yeah,
and I think
that
the
was
pain
crazy.
from that was worse.
And then also,
remember that.
the next one was like lost in sleep and or oversleeping. Like dad tried to sleep it out. He wouldn't hydrate as much.
He would
You
not be
hydrated,
sleeping.
but you
he
slept.
would be laying there with his eyes closed.
Stop.
I slept. You feel like?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, you hydrated, but dad slept. And then remember dad's
Yeah,
coworker.
I didn't sleep.
One of our dad's coworkers said he got COVID,
And slept for 3 days.
slept for like 3 or 4 days, and woke up and was fine. Like what? The next
Scary.
one was head cold feelings. So like they felt like first
Sneeze.
I felt like
sneezed.
your sinuses were acting
Yeah,
up.
I sneezed a
That's
lot.
why everybody started taking Allegra.
Yeah, I sneezed a lot, guys. I sneezed a lot,
Right.
and that wasn't a symptom at the time.
Right. So it might have just been allergy season, but they had runny nose, sneezing, congestion, sinus headaches, whatever. And then obviously cough. And then the biggest one for Ashley was chest pressure, like heaviness, tightness on the
I
chest.
thought I was gonna die. It felt like somebody's hand was just on my chest.
That's crazy.
And it's just like you struggling. Like I felt like it was a struggle to breathe. It didn't. It wasn't like. It wasn't like that. It was just like.
Yeah.
Like deep breaths felt like. Yeah, a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Now I breathe so much clearer.
Okay. So, my mom told us like the COVID feels like a common cold or like the flu on crack. It was very drastic. Like my mom had the flu and she said she felt like she got hit by a truck, and like the symptoms and like the aches specifically were exponentially more difficult for her to cope with.
Mm-hmm.
And then like normal temp is 98.6 or 98.7.
Mm-hmm.
What was your normal like temp when you had a fever?
like 100.
And dad's was
Low
like
grade fever.
101.
His was
point.
high grade. I feel like his was more high grade. That's
Yeah.
why we had to keep him
Right.
Tylenol.
That's a fact. And it was like even when we were washing our hands, like we would wash them so much that we would like also like break out
Peel, eczema.
like our eczema was like triggered. We were like
Yep.
itchy. It was serious.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grape seed was great.
No.
Vitamin C.
No.
Yes.
Elderberry.
Elderberry. That's what I meant to say.
That was
Sorry,
the one.
I'm thinking hair products. Grape
I'm weak.
grape seed. I'm thinking about some grape.
Also, while we're here, just plug the business.
I just did.
No, you
In the
plugged your
beginning.
handles. Plug the business.
The business is Beauty for Ash.
Uh-huh.
We're a natural hair salon.
Uh-huh.
But we cater to all men, women. We just like to help people feel comfortable with their natural textures and offer protective styles, hydration treatments, braids, weaves, wigs, all that great stuff. So yeah, Instagram again is _Beauty for Ash.
And also, if you message Ashley and you tell her I sent you, there might be some kind of special
Discount,
promo.
guys.
Woo!
And don't just lie and say Lauren sent me. Like, make sure she really sent you because I'm gonna ask.
Yikes. Like, have a special password.
Yes.
Okay, so thanks, Ashley, for being on the show.
Anytime.
Woo!
If you want to hear more of me, guys, just let me know. Reach out to Lauren, because I'm such a positive role model.
I asked her to be on this podcast when I first started.
And I said no.
Immediately said no.
As soon as she said, "Could you?" No. But it's not that bad.
It's really not bad. It's not bad.
It's just great.
We're chilling. I gave her some rosé before this, so
I
she
need
could be
more.
nice. I'll give you some more. But yeah, thanks Ashley for being on the show.
Anytime, guys.
Yeah. Rest in peace to everyone who passed from COVID.
Yeah, definitely.
And
it's not a good way to go.
It's really not a good way to go.
Like, if you know people that are going through it,
reach out to them. Check on your friends whose family have COVID.
Definitely.
I think one of my friends is at a funeral now for somebody who passed from COVID. A lot of people we know have passed from COVID.
Definitely.
So, like, it's not to be taken
and
lightly.
then I'm sorry, guys. Like, you know, these hospitals were deeming it COVID when it wasn't sometimes because they got more money. So, sometimes people were not treated properly because they were just writing it off as COVID. And some people didn't actually have COVID. That's just a little 411.
Okay, so with that being said, just be aware. Try to stay in tune with your body. Do not take Aleve or ibuprofen if you think you have coronavirus. Testing and antibody testing is free.
And it's now more widely available.
Right. It's definitely more accessible now. I walked into urgent care and they were like, oh yeah, we could test you for that. Anything else? Like, super casual, no copay, all that fun stuff. But seriously, COVID isn't to be taken lightly. It's not. I know we were like joking and laughing on here, but we are fortunate, we are blessed, and we are grateful to be alive and to have made it out of all 4 of us having a fatal virus, asymptomatic or not.
That's true. So if you guys have any questions, if you want to talk further about it, just contact Lauren or myself, and we will be glad to answer any questions you may have concerning COVID and our experience. And yeah, stay safe, stay healthy, stay well.
Yeah, that's really it. So special shout out to my sister being on this podcast and speaking about her COVID experiences, battles, trials, and tribulations on behalf of the family. So, as always, we are going to end with some positive affirmation. So, stay tuned.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. In preparation for November 3rd, I just wanted to take a minute to talk to y'all about Ballot Ready. Previously, when I voted, especially like one of the first few times, there was a whole lot of names on there. I recognized some, I didn't recognize others, and a whole lot of bubbles, and I was freaking confused. BallotReady.org is a great forum for prepping for elections and voting, especially. On this website, you can compare candidates based on their stances on issues, their biographies, endorsements, and then you can save your choices to use whether you vote by mail or in the voting booth. You can even request your absentee ballot or make a plan to vote earlier on election day. This election matters. Make sure you have a plan to vote and remain informed. So again, go to ballotready.org and enter your address to make your plan to vote and remain informed. Because if y'all know me, as I'm sure you do, I don't like what's going on in the White House right now. And we got to get this man out. So, if you agree, if you don't, whatever. But it is our right to vote, so we might as well exercise it. So this has been an advertisement in part of a charitable initiative in partnership with Ballot Ready. I'm not monetizing off of it in any way, but I just want y'all to remain informed. I love y'all. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, so now is the time for our positive affirmations. The first one is I am level-headed, calm, confident, and collected, even in the face of calamity. The second one is I am capable of overcoming every obstacle placed in my path. And the last is I am healthy and whole. Since this is the coronavirus episode, I think that is the most important one for me. Again, I am healthy and whole. So, thank you everyone for tuning in, and I genuinely appreciate your presence here. I appreciate all the positive words that you've had to say. And as always, if you have any notes or anything you'd like to hear, feel free to contact me and let me know. I've forgotten to for the past 2 episodes. So right now, if you want to follow for updates, you can follow me on Twitter on Another BGT. Another BGT is short for Another Black Girl Twitter. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you can follow me on Another BGI. Another BGI stands for Another Black Girl Instagram. The Facebook is Another BGF. I would say like and subscribe, but it's not YouTube. Sorry. I appreciate you listening, and as always, I'll have another podcast to you soon. Thank you for your presence. You are loved, you are appreciated, and I hope that you're wearing your mask and being healthy and washing your hands as always. I will catch you next time on another Black Girl Podcast.
This is another Black Girl Podcast. We're doing our best to make it last. This is another Black Girl Podcast. We're doing our best to make it last. Another Black Girl Podcast.